Hello again, I am Blunty. Fell into a bit of a wiki hole this morning. I'm not sure exactly how it started, but sooner or later I got stuck on lightsabers. Just reading wikis and watching videos about lightsabers, and eventually came across a couple of online, there's stupid online quizzes you take. Which Spice Girl are you or whatever it was. Man, I just aged myself there. I mean, the grey in the beard aged me as well, but that's the first example I went to. Which Spice Girl are you? What does that say about me? But I found a couple of what lightsaber color would you be? Now, of course, as I mentioned, grey in the beard. I'm Gen X. I was born when Star Wars was born, pretty much. Well, kind of. Star Wars, the first movie, which would later be retitled A New Hope, wasn't in the beginning. It was just called Star Wars, Chapter 4 in the beginning. That came out October 1977. I really hope I got that right. Otherwise, I've just lost a whole bunch of geek cred. I'm pretty sure it's October 1977. At that stage, I was alive, but I wasn't sucking air yet. I was still in Mum's belly. So I came to Star Wars when it came out in VHS many years later. Anyway, as you can tell, I'm still a man-child. I still collect memorabilia and toys and things like that. I mean, we got Optimus Prime back there. That's the 20th anniversary. They call it the Masterpiece Edition, Optimus Prime. That's been reissued a few times since. It is spectacular. The video game helmet over there. I mean, it came with the Fallout 76, so it's not the best example of a nice piece of memorabilia, but the helmet's still cool. The design, they didn't change the design of the helmet for the Fallout 76. It's still part of the Fallout series where there are some good games. Although I have been considering recently, I maybe want to swap that out or balance it up on the other side with a Stormtrooper helmet or the Doom helmet they're bringing out for the new Doom game or something like that. I don't know. Things to go through, Mum. Anyway, point is, I still like collecting that sort of stuff from time to time. I don't go nuts with it, but I do like having that stuff. And I do have some lightsabers coming back full circle. I do have several lightsabers, in fact. About 9 years ago, I had the opportunity to go to San Francisco to LucasArts when LucasArts still existed. It was just leading into the launch of The Force Unleashed 2, Star Wars video game, of course. Less well received than the first one, but I still quite liked it quite a lot. But I went there on a media trip because, I was a YouTube guy, and I was lucky enough to have the PR people tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, you want to come to San Francisco to Lucasfilm and talk to a bunch of LucasArts people and go to Skywalker Ranch? And yes, I went to Skywalker Ranch. I went to George Lucas's ranch, one of very, very few people in the entire planet that ever get to go, especially idiot, rando, general public kind of guy, media or not. It's still a rare thing. I ate some burgers made out of the beef that George himself raises on his ranch, and it was... I was officially sworn in as a Jedi on the shores of Ewok Lake. There was a little I think it was man-made lake, a little man-made lake there on Skywalker Ranch called Ewok Lake. And I was officially sworn in as a Jedi after spending a portion of the afternoon being trained in some basic lightsaber combat. I was sworn in as a Jedi on the shores of Ewok Lake on Skywalker Ranch by George Lucas approved guy. Official Jedi right here. And as part of that ceremony, they awarded us our own lightsabers, which is this. Ironically enough, the one they sent me, because these were the ones we were using on the day, but for obvious reasons it was difficult to take back with me in my suitcase, so I asked them to just post it out to me, which they did. But yeah, ironically enough, I mean, as you can see, if you know anything about Star Wars at all, not a Jedi's lightsaber, is it? This is, in fact, Darth Vader's saber, which is just fine by me because his saber looks cool, sounds cool. Darth Vader's awesome. Unfortunately for me, at one point in its life, I did leave the batteries in it for far too long, and the batteries rotted, basically. They corroded. So the module that makes it light up and made the sounds and everything is currently broken, as I found out this morning. I dug this out in order to make this video. I could probably fix it. I have the skills to fix it. It's not very complicated in there. And as far as I can tell, the only electronics in that bit are the speaker. The electronics that make the noises and stuff are in the hilt still. So it should be pretty easy to fix. But yeah, right now I can't demonstrate this for you, which is sad because it sounds amazing. It growls like a real lightsaber and everything. That whole thing, that whole story does make this one of my very favorite possessions. It is a lightsaber that was sent to me by Lucasfilm, basically. As part of my official Jedi training. Apparently they saw a bit of the dark side in me, but who doesn't, really? This is one of the lightsabers produced by Force FX. I do have another Force FX lightsaber, which I got about a year later. Took myself to DragonCon. Didn't really vlog it or anything like that. I did put up a few videos, but they were basically just about some of the cosplay I saw there and everything. I went for me. I just went for me to have fun. So I wasn't being YouTube guy, media guy. I did take my camera with me, obviously, but the whole point of the trip was just for me to go to this amazing con that sort of runs. It's very unusual in conventions. It runs across several hotels, never really shuts down. The show floor shuts down at some point, but the convention keeps going because it's run through hotels, which of course stay open, and they're all linked by bridges that connect the hotels to each other across the streets, little overpass style things, and you just basically go for 3 days straight and get hammered in the hotel bars and things like that. And at one point I was singing the Monty Python Lumberjack song with a bunch of guys dressed as lumberjacks. Also, there was a guy dressed as Chewbacca. There was a girl there. I forget what she was dressed at, but she was flirting with me quite heavily throughout the night, which was fun. There was also Barf from Spaceballs, which is a vague link to the rest of the story, I suppose. There was the most uncanny Barf cosplayer I've ever seen in my life. He looked just like John Candy. It was amazing. But during that convention on the show floor, I found a rather good price on my next lightsaber, which is this one here. And again, if anyone watching doesn't instantly recognize this, then I don't know why you're watching this video, quite honestly. Maybe just curious about stories from my life. Could be. But this is obviously Mace Windu's saber. Again, the Force FX officially licensed saber. This one still works. And the thing I like about these Force FX lightsabers is not only do they light up sequentially, so it's not just a little light bulb in the bottom. There's a strip of lights and it goes, so it lights up as if it was extending as a lightsaber. Obviously, they've got the sounds effects in there as well, but they've also got impact sensors in here. So when you can sort of mock fight with these. I wouldn't go too aggressive. I don't know if they're super duper battle ready, but they're good enough to have a bit of fun with. But when you do that, just hit my shelf there. When you do that, they make the clashing sounds. They've got a few different variants of the clashing sound depending on how hard you hit and things like that, and it's terrific fun. And I've always loved Mace Windu's saber, not just because it's so much more elegant than the sabers from the first series of movies, which are cool looking but kind of clunky by design, and I love that about them too. But this was slick and elegant and pretty, and it had gold accents on it and things like that. And the blade was purple, which is basically utterly unique amongst Jedi. I don't know whether I've ever gotten a proper canon explanation for why Mace's saber is purple. And here's an interesting fact about lightsaber colors. Now that we're on that issue, I've got a few more sabers to show you yet, so hang on. But lightsaber colors, the reason there are various colors has been changed. Canon has changed. I think it happened after Disney bought them, or either just before, or I'm pretty sure it was after, as they were trying to retcon what was and what wasn't canon and everything and things like that. And the first I heard about it was in one of the first new canon Star Wars novels about Ahsoka. And it describes how she got her post-Jedi lightsabers and colors and things like that. I won't spoil it for you necessarily because it is a pretty decent read. Not greatest novel I've ever read, but pretty decent. Anyway, when I was a kid, the canon thing of the sabers was you'd go to get your kyber crystal as a Jedi trainee, as a youngling or whatever, and you'd go to these special places, these special planets or special caves, and you would sort of go and find the crystal that sang out to you, and it would be a color. And it was sort of later written into canon that the color represented what kind of a Jedi or Force user you were, whether you were protective or aggressive, whether you were sort of calm and all about just using the Force and exploring the Force and learning about the universe through the Force, or whether you were a protector, a knight, you use the Force in battle and protection, or is all that kind of stuff. It's really fun. You should read about it. But that was later changed, again, after Disney bought them, I think. Now the crystals are all colorless when you get them, and they take on a color based on the Jedi that selects them. So they kind of flipped it around. You still get the same kind of thing, that the blade color sort of says something about the kind of Jedi that is wielding it. Also, in the pre-Disney thing, the red stuff that the Sith use, they created those sabers themselves. There was an artificial kyber crystal that they forged using alchemy and Sith alchemy and shit like that, which I thought was really cool. But that later changed, and I'm not sure whether I like the new explanation that the kyber crystals are the same kyber crystals the Jedi use, naturally occurring, and kind of a little bit alive, but they make them bleed by pouring hate and misery into them, and then the crystal bleeds and turns red. And then you can sort of get white lightsaber blades, like Ahsoka's. I guess I will spoil it slightly. If you then cleanse a red kyber crystal, cleanse it of all the dark side hate and heal it and stop it bleeding and things like that. And then it takes on a pale white color, apparently. And there is some conjecture that the more use that gets, it may take on another color later. And whatever. Point is, different lightsaber colors can say different things about the Jedi. I think it's about. And we're going to circle back to that later. But it was the thing about Mace's saber, purple. I don't think we ever have an explanation about exactly what Mace did to make his purple and what that says about him. I think there's some fan conjecture I read. I don't know whether this is actual canon or not, but conjecture that Mace uses the dark side of the Force to enhance his battle capabilities, but uses the dark side in balance with the light side. Uses the dark side for the force of good and things, and something obscure thing like that, which makes his blade a mixture of blue and red, which is purple, doesn't it? How does color mixing work again? Should know this. I used to know art things. Now comes the non-canon but fun stuff. Also at DragonCon, the next day, at a different part of the show floor, I came across a booth just on the show floor. When you walk through the booths, there's selling toys and T-shirts and memorabilia and all kinds of stuff to spend your money on. I came across a booth that had lightsabers. And I looked at the lightsabers and I went, I don't recognize that. I don't recognize that. Well, that one looks a bit like Luke's, but not quite because of this thing. And it was a booth by a company called UltraSabers, who are not officially licensed by Lucasfilm or Disney or anyone. They just make sort of mock lightsabers. I'm not sure whether they can even market them as lightsabers. They just market themselves as UltraSabers. But we all know they're lightsabers. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Don't sue us, please, George Lucas, or Disney, I guess now. And the thing about this booth is they had people building lightsabers right there and then. You could go to them and custom order your very own lightsaber. They had a bunch of different hilts to choose from, a bunch of different blade lengths and styles. They had battle-ready blades and blades that were designed to look really good, but weren't necessarily good for actual dueling, because lightsaber dueling is a thing that people do, by the way. And they had, all the different components. The LEDs and the drivers, and whether or not you can have sound and which kind of sounds you wanted. Did you want sort of a movie sound or an angry sort of sound, or a softer, a higher pitched hum like Yoda's saber, all that kind of stuff. And I thought that was awesome. At this stage, I didn't have a lot of money left, having bought things like this, because this was discounted, but it was still a significant 3-digit number. I can't remember what it was exactly, but yeah. But I desperately wanted my own lightsaber there and then. I walked away from the booth more than once. I would do a circle on the show floor and explore everything, and then come back to it and just stare at them, see what they were building for someone else, and I would just stare. I was obsessed with the idea of a custom built lightsaber just for me. So I eventually weakened and spent, I think, basically the last of my money that wasn't sort of earmarked for food and booze. I had a lot of booze at DragonCon, and I got myself my own lightsaber. And it is this. Very, very sort of elegant and clean. I really like this as a slim down. I mean, I've always been a big fan of kind of less is more when it comes to design. And this, as soon as I saw this hilt sitting there, it really spoke to me. It just looks so understated, and it was a bit dark, which, got a little bit of the dark side of me. I suppose I was attracted to that. And these channels sort of machined into it around here. It's aluminium grip and everything. It's built really solidly. I didn't have the budget for the sound chip, or I don't think at the time the sound chips were available in the hilts that were this size, only the bigger ones. So I don't remember why precisely. It was probably a budget thing. So I didn't get the sound board put into these, but I did get green, and I did get a short blade as well, partly because I like the idea of the shorter blade, partly because I needed something that I could be fairly sure would fit into my suitcase so I could take it home with me, and the long blades probably wouldn't have. The other reason I went for the short blade is because I actually got two of them. And I got a little cap. There's a little screw cap on that end to hold the batteries in, basically. But I got an alternate cap also that would let me join these end to end. So you could screw them directly into each other and basically create Darth Maul style double-bladed lightsaber. So I loved the idea of that because the design of this hilt being so simple. So again, when you do screw it into one another, it basically becomes this beautifully seamless piece. And I think it's just beautiful. And both blades are green, obviously. I could have gone different colors if you really wanted to, but it only made more sense to do two green ones. Yeah, these Ultra Sabers have very, very bright LEDs in them too. And I tried to find the Allen key so I could remove the blade and show you how bright the LED is, but I couldn't find it. There's one around here somewhere. Hands up in the chat who's forever losing Allen keys, because I can't keep hold of Allen keys to save my life. I got 70 bajillion of them in a drawer somewhere, I'm sure. And for a long time now, I've toyed with the idea of doing a Jedi cosplay. I don't get to do cosplay nearly as often as I like, and I've said this before many times, but the thing about cosplay is it's often difficult to carry stuff or operate a camera in a lot of cosplay, because a lot of cosplay comes with masks and gloves and things like that, which makes my job at conventions these days, that being a video guy or a media guy, because more often than not, when I'm at a convention of some kind, I'm there sponsored, there to make content for one brand or another. And so I've got to concentrate on actually making content so they get their money's worth and I get, do my job. Occasionally I do get to do a bit of cosplay though. A couple of years ago, I went to PAX Australia in my Soldier 76 cosplay, which was a pretty big hit. Got lots of compliments on it. It was fantastic. I was the only Soldier 76 there with naturally grey hair, which was fun. I mocked one of the younger 76 cosplayers there that same year. Said he was culturally appropriating my grey hair, which I thought was fucking hilarious. I don't know if he got it. Shrug. But yeah, I've gone on and off that idea many times, and there was a website I found many years ago, jedirobes.co.uk, I think it was. And they do these, what seem like really good sort of off-the-shelf options. You can sort of mix and match what you need and everything, and they seem like really good quality. I haven't really researched them much, but I remember I came across them years ago and would sort of drop into the site every now and again and sort of build up a parts list of various things I would want, the boots and the cloak and everything, and then look at the price and go, I can't spend that much on a costume. But I constantly toy with the idea of doing a Jedi cosplay. And with Rise of the Skywalker coming up this year, there's another sort of thematic opportunity to do so. And I know I don't look a lot like Mark Hamill, but with the naturally grey beard and everything, I think I could pull off a decent sort of grizzled old, well, not that old, but battle-weary Jedi, not young, 40-something Jedi. Anyway, I think I could look the part as a Jedi pretty nicely. And part of that is I've been thinking about getting another custom-made lightsaber hilt. I don't need it, but it seems like another excuse to do so and get something a little more fancy than this, a little more, go to the other extreme, go to something more complicated, something along the lines of a more traditional sort of first-gen lightsaber, something like that. And there's a couple of companies that do it. There are, of course, the UltraSaber guys who, did this, and the stuff they're doing these days, I just had to look at their website. They're doing some really cool stuff these days and much more advanced soundboards and things like that than they had back in, 9 years ago when I first came across them at the convention show floor. There's also Saberforge, who's another, from what I can tell, fairly decently respected company. And theirs look even fancier. And both companies sell these kind of blind box deals so you can pay X number of dollars and you just get delivered a rando lightsaber, which I think could be fun. That could be like, leaving it up to the universal lottery. See what the Force decides to deliver me. What hilt, what color, whether or not I get sound attached to it, things like that. So I thought that could be fun. I'm also fully tempted to, kit out my own custom lightsaber and sort of build it from the ground up from their parts list on the website, which you can also do. And it's that thought that sort of then led me to stumble into looking into because I was parting out some sabers just for interest's sake. And it said, what color do you want? I went, what color do I want? What color would suit me? I mean, I know what colors I like aesthetically. I like green, which is why I chose my little green Yoda sabers there. But, if I'm going for a canon true Jedi, what would suit my general personality, color-wise. So I started doing a little searching around on what the colors mean in canon and stuff like that. So I came across a couple of quizzes. Like there's this one here from thequiz.com. And there's also one on the official Ultrasabers website. So I'm going to take both of these now live. And I know this is a long, rambly video, but if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Who cares? YouTube is screwing me either way on viewerships right now. But yeah, I decided to take both these and see if I can get the Ultrasaber version, which I think would be the truest possible to canon, versus the thequiz.com, which is just written by some rando listicle writer guy. I don't know, for all I know. He might be a huge Star Wars fan, he might not be, but I figured the Ultrasabers one would be at least somewhat close or thoughtful and things like that. So that's what we're going to do. We start, which Star Wars film is your favorite? Well, let's talk this through. Episode 1, kind of a new beginning for the series. Didn't love it. There was some good stuff in there. Darth Maul, of course, pretty rad, but no, definitely not my favorite. Star Wars Revenge of the Sith? No, definitely not my favorite. New Hope, that's where it all began. Definitely not my favorite. Empire Strikes Back. I have to say that's my favorite. Attack of the Clones had some cool stuff in there, but no, definitely not my favorite. Return of the Jedi. No, it's got to be Empire, doesn't it? Has to be Empire. Hands up. Actually, take it with me down in the chat. Tell me what you got. Tell me what you voted for and what you got and things like that. Light side or dark side of the Force? Definitely light side. I mean, I'm a bit of a bastard sometimes, but I'm definitely a light side user from anything. What are your moral values? Depends on what I get out of it? No. Typically just follow the crowd? No. Only care about myself? No. Always put others before myself? Well, not always, but I'd like to think that about myself. But more often than not, I think, yeah. Like when it comes to confrontational stuff, like standing up for someone in some rando in a bar, I've gotten into a few fights that way. When some dude is just being creepo to some rando chick and stuff, you know, you got to step in front of him and go, hey, what's up, dude? How about not being a dickhead all your life? Gotten a few fights that way. So I guess if there's anything, I mean, I don't always put others first. I can be selfish, but if out of these options, it's got to be that one. Which lightsaber crystal catches your eye? Well, the diamond or the green, but this is a weirdly shifted or weighted choice because some of these graphics look terrible. Like this is from a 1997 video game kind of graphics here, with terrible textures, and this looks like a chunk of energon from a Transformers movie or something. So I'm torn, but definitely not these ones. One of these. I'm gonna go diamond. You need to get into a locked building. What do you do? Physically break down the door, pick the lock, patiently wait for someone to open the door, lock until your hand hurts. Need to get into a locked... So this is some sort of emergency. I need to get in. What about... Well, I've actually been in this situation before. Twice, actually. I locked myself out of my apartment a couple of times on New Year's Eve when I left my keys inside while drunk and things like that. I did attempt to pick the lock, and I also attempted to break down the door. Which one did I do first? I tried to break it down first, because I figured I was too drunk to try and pick a lock. Eventually, I called a locksmith, and he picked it for me. But it was New Year's Day, and locksmiths were, couldn't get one for hours later, so I slept in the hallway of the building. But yeah, break down the door. That was my first instinct. I did try to break it down. I did some damage, actually. Which location would you prefer? Mustafar, Tatooine, Coruscant? Best Coruscant. Coruscant's cool. Big city planet, all kinds of stuff from the sort of upper tier white collar stuff all the way down to the gritty underground. There's so many cool and exciting things that can happen on Coruscant. Also, flying cars everywhere. How do you deal with confrontation? Fight until I win. Try and come up with a solution. No, thank you. Defend myself. Walk away from... Well, I've done all these things depending on the type of confrontation it is. What do I do more often? I've been in plenty of fights, but I do try and avoid the fights. I very rarely started a fight, so defend myself is probably the best way to do it. I'm not that diplomatic most often. I do walk away from time to time, but I think more often than not, I do often try and come up with a solution. Like I'll stand there pretty aggressively when something's all up in my face, but I won't make shit worse Sometimes I walk up. Yeah, we'll pick that one. We'll try and solutionize it. And what force power would you use the most? Mind tricks? Force choke? No. Force healing? Force speed? That'd be fun. Force push. Force push, I think, would be me. And I say this because in real life, whenever I come up to a set of automatic doors, sensor doors or a little gateway or something, I will often just do a Jedi push just to make myself smile. And I know I'm not alone in this because I've asked this question before on videos. I know other people do it too. I feel like a dork every time I do it, but I can't help myself. Open the door. So yeah, definitely force push. Which means of transportation do you prefer? What's that got to do with being a Jedi? Speeder bike, AT-AT, ATTE, to tie. Well, tie. Gotta go the tie. Spaceship or X-wing. Ooh, definitely not a pod racer. Which is cooler, tie or X-wing? I think the ties have the cooler design. But when I have bought toys of Star Wars, I've often bought the X-wing. I have to admit, I've owned more X-wing toys than I do TIE Fighter toys. We're going to have to go that way. Ooh, Guardian Blue Saber. Obi-Wan Kenobi's color. All right. I feel like that's suitable, don't you guys? You feel like I'm a blue saber user? Let's try another one. See what we come up with here. The non-saber selling one. Why do you use a lightsaber? To protect, to destroy, for peace, to serve? To protect. Much more of a protector than anything else. Pick your favorite Star Wars planet. Here we go with the planet again. Hoth, Endor, Mustafar, Jakku. Between those, Endor seems like the nicest place to live. It's all lush and green and stuff, right? We go Endor. Seems like the most peaceful place to live. Well, outside of that one thing that happened there that time. Choose your favorite pizza topping? What has this got to do with being a Jedi? Pepperoni, anyway. Definitely pepperoni. Jesus. Pepperoni on every kind of pizza, thank you very much. Did Han Solo or Greedo shoot first? Han shot first, of course. Why would you put, I don't know. Why would you take this test if you don't know who shot first? That's step one. Have you seen the Star Wars movie? What is your favorite holiday? Star Wars Day, Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving. See, if I was writing this quiz, I would have put Life Day in there. And again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're not a big enough fan of Star Wars. Star Wars Day. I suppose they mean May the 4th, I suppose. Well, Christmas and Easter I never really care about because religious holidays kind of annoy me in general. Thanksgiving we don't even do in Australia, so I've got to go Star Wars Day. It's the only one I actually celebrate, even though May the 4th is wrong here in Australia because we don't do month, date. We do it properly. We do it from smallest to biggest, day, month, year. So it's the 4th. 4th of May, not May the 4th. With you. But it's neither here nor there. And given those choices, Star Wars Day. Choose a Star Wars movie. New Hope, Attack of the Clones, Force Awakens, Return. Why would you pick these ones to... Okay. Out of any of these, it's got to be Jedi, right? Given those choices, Jedi. I did enjoy Force Awakens. I don't hate on Force Awakens. I did like it. I mean, there's stuff I would change, but I did like it. Are you in school? Elementary school, college, high school? None of the above. What type of Jedi would you be? Well, that's what we're trying to find out. Why would you just ask that if you could just select it? Doesn't really tell you what these mean either. So it asks you before. What was the one that was? It was like, I don't know who shot first, Han or Greedo. If you don't, why would you put this question in a quiz with that? That's two extremes. Because you have to be a pretty nerdy Star Wars guy to know what a Consular, Investigator, Master, and Temple Guard are all about. I mean, this is the colors right here, basically, to some extent. The Temple Guards being one of the only ones with yellow lightsabers, by the way. Well, given those, Consular, I'd be anything else. Do you have any pets? I used to, don't anymore. What's maybe? Maybe I have a pet? Who wrote this quiz? What kind of insane sociopath? Maybe I have a pet? I don't know. I haven't seen him in a while. There's a bowl over there with some food in it. I'm going to go maybe, see what happens. Star Wars or Star Trek? Given the choice between the two? I mean, if you're taking this test, They might expect you to say Star Wars, but there's a lot more Star Trek out there than there is Star Wars. Which one's the better one? I think I like Star Trek better, I've got to admit. Just because of the... I mean, there's such different shows. Just because they both have spaceships in them doesn't mean they're comparable, really. Star Wars is just so different to Star Trek. I'm going to get Trek, see what happens. Which of these characteristics describe you? Vengeful, resourceful, peaceful, unforgiving. I'm resourceful from anything. What's your favourite Star Wars ship? Millennium Falcon, Slave 1, TIE Fighter. Oh, Jesus Christ. Who doesn't say Millennium Falcon? Look at that thing. It's awesome. It's beautiful. Choose a space station. Death Star. Starkiller Base. Starkiller Base is not really a space station, dude. Again, you know nothing about Star Wars. Death Star 2, none of the above. Well, these are all weapons platforms, not true space stations, really. I mean, Death Star is a space station after a fact, but it's designed as a weapons platform first, and Starkiller Base is built into a planet, not even remotely a space station. I'm going to say Death Star 2, because that was in the better movie. What continent were you born? What's that got to do with what kind of Jedi you are? Do I get a boomerang-shaped lightsaber if I do this? Don't have to use the Force to pull it back to me after I throw it into someone's chest, Yoda style. Just circles around to me. Gotta be careful when you catch it, though, don't you? What's your favorite Jedi? Obi-Wan, Luke, Mace, or Bastard? What an odd choice to put in there as a third option. You'd think Kit Fisto or... Okay, Obi. It's Obi. Especially, you know, younger Obi. Not so much original trilogy Obi. He didn't do a lot. But, yeah, this Obi right here, definitely. Pick a fruit. Banana, blueberry, apple, pear. Well, I've been eating a lot of blueberries lately, I've got to admit. I'm a oatmeal. I'm going to get blueberries. I'm real into blueberries right now. What is your favorite? How can you have a favorite Sith if you're a Jedi? I guess this isn't about whether or not you're a Jedi. It's just what color of lightsaber are you? Vader, Bane, Sidious, Kylo Ren. Is Kylo Ren even a Sith, really? Is he officially a Sith? I guess so. Hasn't taken a Darth name, though, has he? Well, Vader, obviously. Between those choices. What would you do with the Mos Eisley Cantina? Start a fight with a stranger, order drinks, be cool and hope nothing goes wrong, try to stop a fight. Be cool and hope nothing goes wrong, basically. You're in a place like that, you never know what's going to happen if something starts. Which of these characters best describe you? Compassionate? Characteristics, sorry. Not characters. Indifferent, romantic, compassionate, watchful. Watchful, I guess. Pick a Star Wars quote. Luke, I'm your father. Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what we started. There's been a awakening. Have you felt it? Do it or not. Do it or not. There is no try. Like I've quoted that my entire life, basically. It's become something like a personal mantra. Do it or not. There is no try. It's just beautiful in its way, isn't it? What would you do with an unarmed Sith Lord? Execute the unarmed Sith. Make the Sith stand trial. Let him go free. Join forces with him. What would I do with an unarmed Sith? I'd probably go the Mace route. I've got to be honest. As much as I would like to say, you know, be the full Jedi way and just detain him and everything, they're kind of too dangerous to be left alive, really. So yeah, if I was in Mace's position, I'd probably, in the heat of the moment, after all that battle and drama, I'd be amped up. It'd be tough to be just pure calm Jedi guy and make him stand trial. Especially given he controls the political system. That's a tough one. I like that one. It's a good question. Better than most of the questions in this stupid quiz. What's your fighting form? Again, a super deep cut. If you're not I mean, how would you... In the same quiz as who shot first, there's this. Even I forget which is which when it comes to these fighting forms. I mean, I have read about them all and things like that, but it never sticks in my mind which is which. I'm trying to remember. Which was the one that Obi used? Was it... I don't know. I'm going to go that one. Just based on the way the names sound. Makashay. Honestly, don't know about that one. Lost some geek cred there. Pick a Star Wars. Another quote to pick from. Fun, I mean, save for a good day. Train yourself to let go of everything. Party's over. Did you hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis' wise? Again, I'm going to have to go to Yoda. Train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose. It's an important lesson in life, really. Choose your master. Oh, well, that's not really the way it works, but okay. Palpatine, Windu, Qui-Gon Jinn. If anyone was going to train me, I wanted to be Kenobi. Seemed like he was a pretty fun guy. I mean, it didn't work out so well for Anakin in the end, but Anakin has his own issues. Who would you be if you weren't a Jedi or a Sith? Farmer, bounty hunter, mechanic, smuggler. Given those choices, mechanic. Fiddle with stuff. Yeah, man. All right. Let's find out. I'd be a yellow lightsaber. Based on my answers to that question, that wasn't the color I was expecting. Because the yellow lightsabers in current canon are pretty much exclusive to Jedi Temple Guards. And even then, they're not their lightsabers. Because they take it in turns, basically. It's not a permanent position. They just go, well, it's your turn to be a Temple Guard this month or whatnot. Here's your official Temple Guard lightsaber. And they're all yellow. Either for uniformity or whatever. I don't know whether there's a canon reason why they're all yellow or how they're yellow in the first place, but that makes no sense as a result. There are no regular Jedi that I know about. Might have to Google it. But I'm pretty sure the yellow is, by and large, for the most part, almost entirely exclusive to the Jedi Temple Guards. Am I wrong? If you're stuck with the video this long, chances are you know a little bit about Star Wars. You might know this little tidbit that I've forgotten or never learned or whatnot. The purpose of your color is to keep Sith away and patrol the galaxy. Temple Guards don't do that, no. It has been used by Ballista Shan as a double-bladed lightsaber. You have a yellow lightsaber. So, that was a dumb quiz. It was kind of fun. There were some fun questions there. But given which one was probably the more accurate result for canon versus my personality, I do feel kind of like I should have a blue one. Let's go just build your own and see what we can pick a color there. Oh wait, there's my hilt. They still sell it. They still sell the hilt that I've got. The Dark Initiate. I've forgotten the name of it long ago. Mine is a silver button, not a red button. But yeah, there we go. The Dark Initiate. That's my hilt. They still sell my hilt. So yeah, I guess if you like to look at mine, you can buy your own. Anyway, yeah, I guess we're done waffling on about the lightsabers. This has been a far longer video than I ever intended it to be. But yeah, in the down below, tell me your lightsaber stories. What was your first lightsaber? Do you have any cool collector's ones? There is one other lightsaber hilt that I've got that I didn't mention, and it's this one here, which is designed on Luke's saber, but this came with the augmented reality lightsaber game thing from Lenovo, which I reviewed a couple of years back, I think. It's a really nice model. I mean, it's not built nearly as well as the Force FX lightsabers because it's all plastic and stuff, but just to look at, it's really quite nicely modeled. Yeah, let me know, what would your lightsaber color be? Do the tests or just tell me what you feel. Yeah, I'm still attracted to the green. I gotta tell you. I mean, I know it seems quite white on the camera because of the way the lights are working. If I shield it from the main light, you can, there we go, the green more there. Against my face. But yeah, my Dark Initiate hilt, my green short blade. Thanks for watching. I'm Blunty. We'll catch you next time. Waffly video, right? Thanks for sticking with me, I guess.